Every CEO and business leader wants to portray themselves as superheroes, saving the world from the climate crisis, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Most companies splash their green credentials and turn into the Hulk of sustainability, agitated by stakeholder demands for transparency and compliance. But let's be honest, just because you turn green doesn't mean you're a hero. Sometimes you're just angry and smashing things. That's why we are deep diving into the Carbon Disclosure Project, or CDP A List today, the Oscars of corporate greenness. And as we know, just because you win an Oscar doesn't mean you're really any good. Leonardo DiCaprio had to survive a bear attack, crawl through frozen wilderness, take an ice-cold dip, and spend the night inside a horse carcass just to win his Oscar finally. Did you know that while over 22,000 companies were scored by CDP in 2024, only 2 earned an A grade? That's right, in the School of Environmental Action, 98% of companies are failing basic maths. And just 8 companies received a AAA across climate, forest, and water security. Just 8 out of 22,000. If corporate environmental performance was a Netflix show, it would be called How to Get Away with the Murder of the Planet. What exactly is CDP? Founded in 2000, the Carbon Disclosure Project, now just CDP, emerged as a response to growing concerns about corporate environmental impact. Today, it's the world's leading platform for environmental disclosure and risk management, with close to 25,000 companies voluntarily reporting their climate, water, and forest impacts, up from just 250 companies initially. It's aligned with the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures and over 740 financial institutions with more than $136 trillion in assets have requested companies to disclose data on environmental impacts, risks, and opportunities through CDP's platform. CDP then assesses this data, assigning scores from D to A based on factors like transparency, ambition, and demonstrated action. But why should companies prioritize CDP disclosure? Does it actually matter? According to CDP's own analysis, companies on the A list have outperformed their global peers by an average of 6% in stock market returns over the past decade, a reward for transparency and climate ambition. Businesses are recognizing that business sustainability and environmental sustainability are not two different things. This isn't just about feel-good PR, it is about real financial performance. A 2022 McKinsey study found that 85% of institutional investors consider ESG disclosures, including CDP, in their investment decisions. And it's just not investors. A 2025 Deloitte survey found that potential employers are more likely to work for a company with strong environmental credentials and transparent reporting. In short, CDP disclosure isn't just nice to have, it's a strategic imperative for companies that want to attract investors, retain talent, and better manage risk. But let's not get carried away. If CDP is the Oscars of corporate greenness, impressive, sure, but sometimes the best actors or movies don't win, right? Sometimes the award goes to the one with the best PR campaign. Some research shows that CDP scores can be swayed by slick reporting, not actual environmental performance. Plus, not all the big polluters even bother showing up for the ceremony, which kind of skews the whole thing. And while CDP loves a good target, some critics say that they're not sticklers for actually hitting those targets. It's like promising to run a marathon but showing up in flip-flops and leaving after the first water station. So while the CDP A list is definitely worth celebrating, let's remember it's just one piece of the puzzle. Don't believe the hype. Do your homework. Let's start with L'Oréal Group, the world's largest beauty company. But L'Oréal isn't just about cosmetics. It's also become a global poster child for corporate sustainability. In 2024, L'Oréal pulled off a record-breaking feat. It became the only company in the world to earn a ninth consecutive CDP AAA score. That's more consecutive wins than Meryl Streep has Oscar nominations. Almost. Think of it as winning 3 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Makeup. And they have been winning it for 9 years in a row. So what's behind the win? L'Oreal for the Future Sustainability Program, launched in 2020, is packed with ambitious targets: carbon neutrality for all sites by 2025, 100% eco-designed products by 2030, and a $150 million fund for environment and social impact. As of 2024, they have achieved 97% renewable energy at operated sites, and they're restoring thousands of hectares of land and forests. In 2023, they created a climate emergency fund. In 2024, they also validated the new decarbonization pathway. They have now new targets to reduce Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions by 57% and Scope 3 by 28%. But before we roll out the red carpet, let's get on our critical hats. L'Oreal's progress is impressive, but much of it comes from their own operations, where they have the most control. The real test, their supply chain, which is far harder to monitor and decarbonize. And while their reporting is independently verified, some critiques argue that the beauty industry as a whole still faces big challenges with packaging waste and ingredient sourcing. So, is L'Oreal a sustainability superstar? Absolutely. Should it do more? Yes, as per its own new science-based targets. Let's turn the spotlight on Toyota to Chew Corporations, the trading arm of the Toyota Group. While you might know Toyota for its cars, the corporation is behind-the-scenes powerhouse, handling everything from metals and chemicals to food and energy across more than 120 countries. In 2024, Toyota joined the elite club by earning a CDP AAA score for climate change, water scarcity, and forest protection. So what earned them this environmental standing ovation? Toyota's Carbon Neutral Challenge 2050 is at the heart of their strategy. They slashed their Scope 1 and 2 emissions by over 30% in the last 5 years, invested heavily in renewable energy projects across Asia and Africa, and pioneered circular economy solutions like recycling rare earth metals from used car batteries. They're also transparent about their progress, publishing detailed sustainability reports and even launching a video series to show their supply chain decarbonization in action. Stakeholder response has been largely positive. Investors have rewarded Toyota with strong ESG ratings, and the company's inclusion in global sustainability indices has boosted its reputation. Customers and partners, especially in the automotive and energy sectors, see Toyota as a reliable, forward-thinking collaborator. Some environmental groups do point out, though, as a trading company, Toyota's indirect or Scope 3 emissions are massive and much harder to control. And while their transparency is commendable, critics argue that the company could set even more ambitious targets for its global supply chain. So is Toyota a sustainability game changer? They're certainly making big moves behind the scenes, but the real test will be how they tackle the next act, decarbonizing the entire value chain.